Big play, big play. A1!
Growing up here, it's unique for a lot of different reasons, and it has a lot to offer. What did you guys even know about the city of Atlanta before actually deciding you were gonna come here?
Yeah, I remember how I started. Driving, we wouldn't fly to Florida for spring break. My mom would drive us from Indiana all the way down to Florida, so we would stop by Atlanta, stop by the aquarium and stuff like that. I remember the Super Bowls here, so I wasn't too familiar with it, but I always knew the culture behind it, the music. You know, you always want to hear
you were born to a Freaknik.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, 26 years. I was doing the math. I was like, 26. Oh, boy.
So I didn't know much about it, but I'm definitely excited to learn a little bit more for sure.
That's what's up.
For sure.
For me, man, I just knew Atlanta was, it was like a hub for people like myself, you know, my skin color that can become successful.
Like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody here, you know what I mean? So that looked like us, you know what I mean? And I knew it was, you know, a place where, you know, a lot of them were succeeding, you know what I mean? A lot of us were succeeding, man, and I appreciate that 100%, especially coming from where we come from. And, you know, I like he said, it's a lot of culture here, music, food. I was like, man, I jumped at the opportunity because I just knew the city was so historic. You got Martin Luther King Drive everywhere around this joint. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, it's a blessing to be here, man, and you know, I'm wearing it with honor. You know what I mean? So
this is a lot of history here. You know, and I've been a fan of football for a long time. And I mean, I remember back when they had the Dirty Birds, you know. I grew up in Denver, so I was a big Broncos fan. I remember when they beat, you know, the Falcons in the Super Bowl. But I was a Falcons fan the whole season till the Super Bowl because it was young and cool. I remember loving doing the Dirty Bird, you know. I can't wait to do the Dirty Bird. I give me my 100 sack, I'll probably go do the Dirty Bird. I ain't gonna lie. That might have to come out afterwards. I'll probably go
Y'all heard it here first.
No, but you know, being where I'm at, like in my career and stuff, you know, like a lot of people expected me to go to a place that was more proven, had a better, you know, chance at other people's standards. But I'm sitting here studying tape, and I'm talking to people and doing my research and stuff, and I'm like, yo, a lot is closer than people realize, you know. They're able to get other guys, you know, in the class.
Absolutely.
The free agency class. I'm like, okay, you know, I mean, you know, I see the potential, and if we do it right, you know, it can be something special, you know. But from a city standpoint, you know, I just remember thinking to myself like, you know, black success. You know, I remember Vonnie Halliday a couple years back. I was trying to figure out, like, you know, where can I live when I'm done playing ball? And he was like, man, come on out to Wakanda, man. This is Wakanda, man. You know, black success everywhere. You know, and like, you know, I mean, you know, my son, I want to put him in like top schools, so make sure he's getting top quality education, but I also want him to be around diversity. You know, most of the top schools in areas that I lived in, you know, not a lot of kids look like him, so you're outcast by nature. You know, and like, you know, and he'd have been fine, you know, regardless, because you know, I'm gonna raise him to handle any situation.
Right.
But it's just nice when it's just natural, where it's a good diversity, a little bit of everything, you know, and so that definitely played a role.
So CALAIS, one of the things I wanted to ask you though, because I know you're big in the community and like giving back, and you know, the owner of the team, Arthur Blank, he's huge on giving back to the community. Is that something that played a factor in your decision to come here too?
A little bit, you know, because I mean, I'm gonna do good charity work, you know, always. Just that's who I am, you know. Like I was raised to like be a community man, you know, like in, you know, we as strong as our community. So I'm gonna make sure, especially like, you know, helping kids who are less fortunate. You know, I mean, I grew up in a homeless shelter, you know, for a period of time. I mean, it was there for like 5-6 months, but throughout my life, we had ups and downs. You know, we had times when both my parents had good jobs and we was 5-bedroom house, and we had times we was in homeless shelter, 1-bedroom apartment, you know, struggling, you know, trying to make ends meet. And it just was like, you know, that's life, you know. But I know there's kids out there that's struggling, you know, families out there that's struggling that need help. And it's like, yo, you know, God blessed me with the opportunity. You know, I'm gonna help people. You know, that's who I am. You know, like I know the struggle. I know the pain. You know, I seen it in my dad's eyes. You know, when times are hard. You know, so I know that like sometimes just a little bit of help can help people get back right. And with my pops, like you just, you know, when we got help, you know, that's all we needed to get back into a situation where, like, after we left the homeless shelter, we moved to a 1-bedroom apartment for a little while. Then we moved to a 5-bedroom house. And then when I went to college, I left from a 5-bedroom house, and it was like, you know, it's a blessing, you know. So just sometimes it just help people when they're in a tough spot. You know, that's something I have to do. You know, that's just the way I was raised.
Perspective for you, Jessie. You know, deciding to come here because you know you guys could have went anywhere, but you chose Atlanta. And I know one of your former coaches, Steve Jackson, who's coaching the secondary now, he was with you in Cincinnati when y'all went to the Super Bowl. Did that play a factor in you coming here to Atlanta?
Yeah, so having those conversations, then going into free agency, obviously, one, to get your family, set your family right, and Atlanta was the perfect opportunity for that.
All three of y'all, when I heard that y'all were coming to Atlanta, being from here, growing up here, playing in this organization, and knowing how all of us was on a team, it was a blessing. It was a blessing to be able to see. We came in at 08 together. But I know your mindset as a player. I played with you. I know your mindset as a player overall, not just on the football field, off the field as well. Me and Jack talked about you, and I watch you from afar, so I know your mindset and your approach to the game. So it's a blessing to have y'all in Atlanta, and I know the fans won't be disappointed, and I know the young guys on the team are going to appreciate y'all.
Big play, big play.